Hi, welcome to part two. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this. Death and dying. I'm trying not to be too depressing, but it is. It's like I said, it's two people that have died, and then my father who is dying. It's not a lot of fun to talk about, but it's something. Honestly, like it's really consumed my life the last week, uh, and really 2 weeks, and so that's why I'm behind on these videos. And it's outside of hockey, I haven't had much to talk about. The Islanders are out of the playoffs, so part two, John Marsh. This one hurts the most. I mentioned Jay Jones in part one, and it's a bummer. I'm losing all my black friends. It's really, I'm not even joking. I just have to laugh because it's crazy. In April, I lost my friend's wife Pam. She was black, and then Jay in May, and now John died in June. And it's a real. It's just. Uh, all these wonderful people that I am so lucky that they allowed me into their lives. Because honestly, I was telling my friend Eric this at Jay's Memorial. I was like, I'm so glad I ran into the right people at that movie theater. You guys kept me afloat. If I didn't have good friends at that movie theater, I probably wouldn't have stayed there for 6 years, and that was the support I needed financially to work my way through college. And my life would, and I wouldn't have met my ex-wife there. I wouldn't have kids maybe. I mean, who knows? My life would have been completely different. And so I thanked him because I was like, if it wasn't for you guys and the strength and the friendships that I had with you guys, I wouldn't have lived. And John Marsh was one of the strongest. He just an amazing man, and I extremely patient with me because there were times, I met him when I was 20. I was often a dick to him. I got jealous. He was a year older than me, but light years more mature and light years more intelligent, and for some reason liked me. I don't know why, because I was just a 20-year-old dipshit just trying to stumble my way through life, and we just got along. And we would go watch videos at his house. We'd take the bus, and maybe that was why he liked me. Maybe because I tried to put an effort into the friendship by a lot of guys were, I'm not taking a bus out to Montbello to watch videos with you. I was like, no, this is a great guy. I'm thrilled to take a bus and watch videos with you. And I got to know his brother Gerald, who was also amazing, and so and his mom, and I got to and his mom is an amazing cook, and his mom's from Grenada, I believe, or I always get it mixed up. I used to say she's from Guyana, but I think she's from Grenada. But I should have this. I should know this, but I screw it up all the time. I know it begins with a G, but she's amazing. Amy's an amazing woman. Amy's been through a lot. I mentioned this when I talked about John last week, that I just feel terrible for her. That she's had 3 children. She's had to bury 2 of them, and not an ex-husband, a husband, who died in a car accident when the family was very young. I don't even. Yeah, Enid must have been tiny when that happened, but Gerald and John were, I think, maybe 4 or 5 years old when Dad died. Enid must have been a baby. Maybe Mom was even pregnant with her because Enid was the youngest. But Enid died several years ago. I'm not sure exactly how many. I want to say 5 years ago, maybe, of cancer. I never knew her. Knew she was wonderful. The whole family's amazing. Um, and then now John, and this poor woman has had to bury a husband and 2 of her 3 children. And she's great. She's an amazing mom, an amazing woman. I love her so much, and I just feel horribly for her. His John's funeral will be Friday in Benicia, California. It's a suburb of San Francisco. It's beautiful there. I love his home. It's very hilly, and it's just a great place. He seems to be happy there. He seemed to be happy doing what he was doing currently, and kind of it threaded into what he had been doing for the last 20 years. He had a passion for helping people. I just had a beautiful big heart, and he's another big black man, sort of like Jay Jones, who I mentioned earlier. Just a large, you hug him and he just enveloped you, and it wasn't just physical; it was emotional. It was his love and his being that just brought you in. He, he. So yeah, the funeral is on Friday, July 2nd, I believe. Whenever the second is, or Saturday, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a Saturday, but I think that's the weird thing. I thought July 2nd was his birthday. I'll have to check. It might be the third or the first, but I know it's right around the second. And what a terrible thing. What a terrible thing. It's just, what I was starting to talk about is he was working for the Jimmy Carter Center, which is a big deal. It's not easy to get into the Carter Center. You have to be a special, intelligent, compassionate, amazing person to get into the Jimmy Carter Center and do the work that they do. and he was doing I'm not sure exactly what he was doing. I know I'm pretty sure it had to do with educational rights, but he was often working in country in Ethiopia with people on voting rights, basic human rights, and he had an amazing knowledge of the land. I don't know how well he spoke the native language. He probably did, knowing how smart he was with language. But he knew, he knew the importance of his, I wouldn't say mission, but of his job there. His job was to empower people, and there's so much, it's complex everywhere. As we know as human beings, you got people there that are still upset if they're not from the same, you know, clan, family, tribe. That still goes on everywhere in the world and in Africa too. Um, you got Eritrea, which used to be part of Ethiopia, and now it's not. I'm sure that affects things. They have all the coastline. Ethiopia has none. It's an unusual way that they did that. But John was there working passionately to help people have better lives. That's what it comes down to. He enhanced my life. We had so much fun. I just enjoyed him so much. Trying to think of some other stories. I know I did a two-parter about him last week, and I love the story when we go to get harassed by the campus cop. But I told that one already, where he says all his aliens, his aliases, and the cop gets all pissed. Oh, just get out of here. Um, I remember one story I didn't tell. This was it was a weird one. We were in a store somewhere downtown. I can't remember exactly where. And he just froze and was just staring at this guy. And this is where one of those moments at a young age, I was probably 21, 22, where I understood white privilege, in a weird social type of way. He was just looking at this guy, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And he was kind of frozen for a minute, and and to me, the guy just looked like a skater or maybe a punker. And that, he's like that guy's a fucking skinhead. I was like, "Oh Jesus." I didn't even think about it. And it's kind of a white privilege thing. A, being white, I know he doesn't hate me for the color of my skin because it's the same as his. B, just I didn't even recognize him as a skinhead. I thought he was like I said, a skater kid or a punk rocker. But no, John knew. He must have not only sensed something. The guy probably stared at him at first or something, or made a gesture or something that I didn't notice until I saw John just staring at this guy. And there was almost a fear. That was the weird thing. This is a large, healthy black man. John was big. He was 6 foot and he was well over 200 pounds. Almost completely muscle at that time in his life. And he was pretty athletic. He played football with his brother, and we hung out and did stuff, and we were young. We were 21, 22, 23 years old, and there was almost a fear there. And there's like, is there a fear that this guy might have a weapon? Is there a fear that there's maybe 7 more of these assholes just outside this store? And I never talked to him about it, and I kind of wish I had, because maybe fear wasn't the emotion he had, but it felt like it. It was just like, when like a dog in a yard looks off and they hear something that you can't hear, or smell something that we can't smell, and they just stand there and they stare like into the trees, and the hair on their back and back of their neck goes up, and that's what it felt like. And it was just a horrible feeling to know, A, I couldn't really comfort him, B, that he has to deal with that as a black man he probably deals with that often, way more often than anyone should. But it was interesting to see that side of him, and know what it was like in that moment to truly be black. I still didn't get it, you know, on an innate level, but I did at least see what my friend was going through. He was an amazing guy. Like I said, spoke Swedish, which a couple of years ago he came to one of my comedy shows, and so did another friend, John Hazel, and his wife, and she spoke Swedish. I go, hey, so does this guy. She's like, get out of here. And they just started a conversation in Swedish. It was beautiful. 2 Americans, 1 white woman, and 1 black man having a conversation in Swedish. And me and those 3 Johns, too, John Hazel, John Marsh, and John Corelli, just going, all right. John Hazel going, do you want to speak in English to each other? And we're just laughing, just going, this is amazing. And John Marsh was amazing. And I will probably allude to him a lot as I do these videos this summer. You know, so I'm going to stop there, but I got to go on to part 3 and talk about my dad and how that's going. So thanks, you guys, for listening, and I'll see you in part 3.